The coalition is preserving your life history today. Why don't we get started by having you introduce yourself? What is your name and your age, Mrs. Mabry?
Esther Mabry, age 81,
And where were you born?
Palestine, Texas.
How long did you live in your place of birth?
Oh, about 20 years.
Do you have any siblings?
Siblings.
Brothers or sisters?
Oh, yes. I have one sister living, but I have a sister deceased and two brothers deceased, three brothers deceased.
And where did you attend school?
Palestine and Crockett and some here in California.
And do you remember the schools that you attended here in California?
I went to Summit to Merritt and Laney.
What are some of your earliest memories of your childhood?
Oh, when we was coming on, we was happy childhood. My mother and father and sisters and brothers and my aunts and uncles, and it was all just one big happy family. And we worked hard, we played, and it was a very loving family. My father and mother and cousins, we all slept together sometimes, ate together, picked peas and farmed and with the chickens and eggs and played the grataphone, we called it. And we danced and we ate. We went to church and to school and Sunday school and visit. And we just did a lot of things, It was very happy things. Got good whippings.
Do you remember the name of the church that you all attended?
Mount Comfort.
And where was that?
That's in Palestine, Texas.
In Palestine, Texas.
And I went to Ibn Spring and went to Brown Spring, and we just visited all the churches because there was no place else, wasn't much else to do. So we went to every church. Only pastoral day was on Sunday. First Sunday of the month or the second Sunday of the month. We went to all of them just to have some place to go. And
you can't hear me. Good afternoon. The coalition is preserving your life history today. Why don't you start, Mrs. Mabry, by introducing yourself, giving us your name and age.
Esther Mabry, 81.
And Mrs. Mabry, where were you born?
Palestine, Texas.
And how long did you live in Palestine, Texas?
20 years.
Do you have any siblings, brothers or sisters?
Yes. I have I have one sister, but there was 5 of us.
And you all grew up in Palestine, Texas?
Yes.
Can you name your brothers and sisters?
George Brown, Booker Brown, Vernell Rivera Brown.
And where did you all attend elementary school?
Natchez and Mount Prairie, little country town school.
And how many grades were at the school?
First it was 6, and then it got to be 8.
And at that time, were you all in one room, or were you in different rooms?
And we were in different rooms.
And what are some of your earliest memories of your childhood that you recall?
I recall my grandmother and my uncles and aunts and grandfather, mother and father, great-grandmother and great-grandfather, cousins.
So you're from quite a big family then?
Yes, on both sides.
On both sides of your family. Do you recall any events that occurred during your childhood days that you can remember?
We used to like to go to the association and the fair and the picnics and Juneteenth and celebration.
What kind of things did you do for the Juneteenth celebration?
Oh, we had some red soda water and some ice cream and barbecue and chicken, and sometimes we'd have fish and cakes and all the good stuff.
And can you describe one of your Christmas times at Christmas?
Yes. We had, we were waiting for Christmas to come and waiting for Santa Claus to come, and the firecrackers and the big stick of candy and some raisins, and had stockings hanging up, and maybe a doll, some dishes, and popcorn and turkey, all the food you could eat. Plenty of food, turkey, ham, roast, and every kind of cake. Jelly cake, caramel cake, coconut, pineapple, chocolate. Those are some of the favorites.
Would you girls help out in the cooking and preparation of these items?
Oh yes, when we got big enough we did. When we wasn't big enough, we'd always want to help, especially my grandmother.
And your grandmother's name was?
Jesse Hunter. My grandfather's name was Jesse Hunter. He named my grandmother. My great grandmother was in labor with my grandmother, and he came by, and they was all in the field, and wasn't nobody home but her. And she asked him to go and get the midwife. He said, "Oh, Jesse, I don't feel like going and get no midwife." She begged him and begged him. He said, "I'll go under one condition." She said, "What is that?" "It's a girl, let me name it, I'll marry her, and give it to me when she get old enough, I'll marry her." So sure enough, it was a girl, and sure enough, my great-grandmother let her name him. And he named him, and she got 16. He came by, she was so pretty. He said, "Now, Aunt Ellen, you know you gave me this girl, and I'm ready for her now." She said, "Oh, Jesse, this girl is going to school. She's not out of school yet. She's not old enough. She's not old enough to get married." But they eloped and stayed together till death do us part. Had 8 children.
They had 8 children.
8 children. Mm-hmm.
How many boys and how many girls?
1 boy and 7 girls.
And where did your parents originate from? Where were they born?
They were born in Texas, Palestine, and Even Spring, Texas.
And your mother's maiden name was?
Hunter.
Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
And your father's name was?
Brown.
And what did your parents do to earn a way of income? What did your father and mother do?
Well, they were farmers, and my mother would raise chickens and eggs and maybe quills and stuff like that. And my daddy, he started working in the oil fields after then. And he worked at the oil fields, and then he worked at the laundries. He was always doing something to make money. He would chop cotton, and he would cut cordwood and stuff and take it to town to sell it. And he would let us pick cotton for somebody. We got through with at home, he would let us go out and pick cotton. He would take us, and whatever we made was ours. He didn't take anything from us. But he would always have something for you to buy. Buy you some shoes, buy some good shoes. Don't buy nothing cheap now. Then we'd go to the fair, the circus, or we'd all have our own money, the association, go to the movie, and go visit and go to picnics and barbecues and revivals.
So you were saying that as a child you all helped out and worked on the farm together. What
Yes.
do you remember doing on the farm?
Oh, picking cotton and chopping cotton and picking peas and beans and potatoes and gathering eggs and tuning, getting the cows, milking.
As a child, where did you spend most of your time? At home, at school, on the playground?
Well, we spent a lot of time at home, and then which times we could with my grandmother. We'd be down at her house, but we'd be at our house. Then we'd spend time with our friends and cousins and aunts and things. We'd spend the night with them.
Who or what would you say had the most influence upon your life?
My grandmother.
And why would you say that?
Because she would let me help her cook and do everything, and she would teach me everything, and she was just so sweet and kind, and would let all the kids come there and stay. We sleep on pallets and things. As long as we was at my grandmother's house, we could stop eating, just eat. We had dinner at home, but as soon as we get to my grandmother's house, we look for something to eat, because she could just cook, just take anything and make something out of it.
So that was a very special time in your life, being at your grandmother's house.
Oh yeah, she'd let us help her with the quilts, piecing the quilts and making patterns and taking the flour sack, making towels and different things, stitching, crocheting, and
So
embroidering.
All the girls learned how to do that, to sew and,
Yes.
and quilt.
Mm-hmm.
And the food that you guys had on the farm, would you sell that or would you keep it for the family?
Well, they would sell some of it. then some of it they would keep it for the winter.
To make sure that they would have
They
enough to
be
get
sure
through
that they
the
would
year.
have enough. And my father, he raised so much. He was the first one to get everything done. And the people got jealous of him. And he had some mules, and he was working in the oil fields. And they beat up glass and poisoned the mules. Then he got a car, and they put sugar or something in the tank, and he couldn't work. So after he and my mother separated, but he taught us how to cook and everything too, and keep house. And then they burnt the house down. So those had to go to my grandmother's and uncle's and place to live. But we made it.
How long did you have to stay with someone else when this happened?
About 6 months. Some white people lived across the road, and they took us in too.
So then you spent time with them as well.
Right, yeah, we played together and ate together. They were nice people. We would do everything together. And they would take us to town. They had the cars, and they would take us where we wanted to go.
Now, where was the kitchen located?
It was in the front, they had a house, my grandmother and them had a house built. They added on, and they had a kind of across to the kitchen and dining room. Then we had the living room. Then we had 2 bedrooms. And we all slept together, slept on the floor, and had a fireplace. Parched some peanuts and eat some sweet potatoes and play with gray horse, and a lot of the things we did. It was really amusing.
Did you also have a smokehouse where you kept your meat?
Oh, yes.
And how was the meat prepared?
Oh, they would kill it, and they would kill the hogs, and then they would cut them up. Sometimes they would salt them down some, and then they put a smokehouse, and they'd cut to get the wood and cut it real low for it to smoke for days. And then they would take it, some of the sausage and stuff, and make them and they'd make the lard and put some of the sausage down in the lard, and they would be just screaming, very good. And
was the kitchen the family room as well, or was it just for cooking?
well, it is mostly for cooking. But we had another room where we all ate together around the fireplace.
And how did you keep your vegetables in those days?
Well, a lot of them was dried, and a lot of them was canned. And then the meal, we would go to the gin and have the cornmeal ground, make our own cornmeal. But other than that, it was preserved, and my grandmother canned everything.
So did she teach the girls how to do the canning as well?
Oh, yes. My aunt, one of my aunts, that she taught canning. They had a place there where they was having everybody to bring their canned stuff, and they had a canner, and she taught them to can.
And could you expound a little bit more on the quilting? Who taught you how to do the quilting, and where did you get the material from?
From scraps of the dresses and any kind of material. A lot of people would give us scraps from. My grandmother sewed some too. Always kept the scraps. They'd take the scraps and cut them and make patterns, different wedding rings and all kind of different quilts.
And she would make the designs herself?
Yeah, they would make them, and then sometimes we'd have patterns. A lot of people had patterns, and then they would have a kind of demonstration or something, and they would win prizes with the quilts. They would take the quilts, and I forget what they call that then. But
and with the quilts, how long would it take you to make one, say the size for a regular size bed?
well, it would depend on how much time you had, and then my grandmother and them, the way they had friends and things and relatives, the way they visit, they would come together. That was the way they'd visit and make the quilts at home, and everybody come to your house this time and make the quilts. They'd go to somebody else's house the next time and make the quilts, quilt the quilts. So sometimes it take, if you're just doing it yourself, it take longer. But it just depends on the amount of time that you could spend quilting. But it's rainy days, you do get a lot of quilting done.
And what kind of transportation did you have then?
We had a wagon and horses and had cars. Later on we had cars, and some people would have cars. And they would come by, we'd get them to come and take us, and we could call for a cab. The cab would come and get you too. Mr. Blake.
And that was the cab driver.
Right.
And how far did you live from the church?
About 5 miles.
And how would you get to church on Sundays?
We'd get in the wagon and go. Sometimes we would walk or ride with somebody else.
And what is your marital status?
I'm still married.
And you are still married. Do you have any children?
And one stepson.
And he lives?
He lives in Oakland, in Richmond.
Do you have any white friends in Texas still today?
Yes, I have. I have a lot of white people we raised up with, and I have a lady that, some people that I used to work for, and I started working in a restaurant, and she taught me a lot about cooking too. That's why I have liked the restaurant business. And we would, with all of us working there, and after we got so good, she asked for a raise. She wouldn't give us a raise, so I told her, I said, well, we're gonna have to have a raise. And I said, well, just give me my money, I won't be back. So she gave me my money and wouldn't get back. When I didn't go back, I wouldn't call all the rest of them, would let them go to work. No, we're not gonna go until we get a raise. So then we all got a raise. And everybody was happy then.
Do you still keep in touch with some of them?
I call them when I go to Texas, I visit them. There's not too many of them living now, though. But this lady, she's still living. She was a nice lady.
And when was the last time that you were in Texas?
Last August, I believe. My cousin died. And my other cousin died in January. So I went there twice last year. And my aunt's in the rest home. And one aunt living on my mother's side. And she's 95 now, and my aunt died about 4 or 5 years ago. She was 95. She was a grand lady, too, on my daddy's side. I loved her so much.
When you were back in Texas, what kind of changes have you seen take place?
Well, there's not too many changes that has taken place since. There's almost the same amount of people living there now that it was then. 13,000 then, it's still 13,000 or something. So it's not growing very much. When they get old enough now, they leave and go, venture out and where it's better, the money's not as good there as it is here in other places.
And you were saying that you're still married, and how long have you been married now?
43 years in October this year.
And where were you married? Were you married in Texas?
Reno. I met my husband here.
And you met your husband here?
Yeah, he was hungry. He was looking for something to eat. And every place was closed up. That's how we met.
And what made you decide to move north?
Well, during the war, then everybody was coming north. Then, and the war was going on, and everybody was making good money. They was talking about how much money they was making. And then I was working with this girlfriend of mine, and her uncle had lived here, and she had been here and lived with him. And we came and we lived with them he's come to live with them. And so I've been here ever since. And when I came here, she got a job and left me there, and I cried. I've never been away from home. And I was next to Baker's Funeral Home, and everybody came out. They babied me and petted me and gave me everything. And the lady, she said, what is she crying about? She said, because she don't want me to leave her. So she came and got me, and I was the guest in her house. And then she got me a job living in, but I didn't like living in. So then I started working for the railroad company.
And what kind of work did you do for the railroad company?
Oh, I sold tickets. I worked in a restaurant. Worked on the ferry, and I cooked, waited table, and sold tickets and made sandwiches. They had box lunches and just did it all. That time, everything was in one building then, one room. The ticket office and the restaurant and food and everything was in one building. Then they expanded it.
And which railroad was that for?
Southern Pacific.
Are you involved in any community activities today?
Very much so. Work tireless with the community redevelopment and trying to get West Oakland back like it was, before. Work tirelessly with their lodges and clubs, pathfinders. We worked hard together and we volunteered a lot. We started off with Fanny Wall Home, and we every year we would give to them. We would have benefits for them. We even had quilts. We made quilts and wrapped them off to help with in the NAACP and the Men of Tomorrow and the East Bay Democrats and Associated Cab, the Pathfinders and the Cal Pac. Right now, really involved with trying to improve, get West Oakland back, the development, get it back like it was, because I'm the only one that's still left there. All the clubs and everything was real going good, and everything was having a good time, and all the money was there. But now, I don't know, everybody's just selling out, and there's not too many blacks left there. You go out now, you ask for somebody, ask for direction. You can't even get direction someplace. If you get lost, you go and ask them, they can't tell you nothing. They're buying up all the property and everything, and just leaving this. But we just have to get together. I preach to them all the time. We got to get together. We got to keep West Oakland. Highest of my ambition to see West Oakland back like it was, because it was a great place to live, and the money was good, and all the Army base, Naval Supply, all of them, we was connected with all of them. And they'd all come down before they go to work, after get off. They was just happy to be there.
Can you tell me a little bit about the Fanny Wall home?
Oh yes, it was nice. It was they kept people and they did for people, and it was just forget the name of the lady that was running the home when they first opened. Husband ran on the road. It's been quite a while, but they did a lot for people.
And what year did you open your cafe and club?
1950.
And what was West Oakland like in those days?
Oh, it was the place to be, because they had the Associated Cab there, the cab stand. It was organized in my place, and everybody that had a cab, they all joined in and had Associated Cab. And everybody had their own cab, and different companies, Springer and Mr. Seneca, old Seneca, Reliable, and all the cabs, they just got together. Everybody had an independent cab, so they all got together and had an association cab, made an association out of it. And they had the office there in my place. So that was good, because they would change shifts and everything there. The dispatchers and cab drivers, and it was just beautiful. It was just wonderful. And everybody and the railroad men, they had the railroad men was right. The cooks and waiters was next door where I was. And then after post office orders out, I bought the place where I am now. Then the railroad company, they had the cooks and waiters had their union hall up there. Then next door, from there, a couple of doors from there, C.W. Dillon had the Pullman Porters a union hall, so they would all get together and have sessions and things and meetings, and that made it nice. And the Seamers, they would all come, Mr. Minix and different ones, they would come in, they'd have their meeting there. Before he would go home, he would stop there, and his wife would say, where's Mr. Minix in? He said, yes. She said, he's at his office. He's called at his office. And he would get so many people back to work. And so and I would get jobs for people through him. Like the Southern Pacific, I say, Mr. Anderson, Mr. Anderson, do you have anybody? I need somebody to get somebody a job. And Tom Anderson and Mr. Pollard. And I would talk to them, and I'd talk to the Siemens, and I said, listen, I got somebody I need to get a job for. And they would get the jobs for them. And most of them never really forgot about it, you know. And the longshoremen's out there, somebody, can you get them a job? I got somebody out of town, they need a job. Did they get in trouble, they would come there, and they'd had a place to sit over there where they would get them together and get them back on the ship or on the train. It was just wonderful. And they would leave their bags there. They would stop there and eat. A lot of time they would go down to Seals Overland. They liked that hash and rice that he made. He made some good hash and rice.
And what type of business did you have in those days?
A restaurant.
And what was the name of it?
Esther's Breakfast Club.
And where was it located?
1724 7th Street.
And so when they would come in off of the train, they would come there and eat?
Yeah, they'd come there to eat. If they had to, sometimes if they had to go out, didn't know whether they had to go out or not, then they would come down there looking for somebody to go out. If they was short of help, they would come there to look for somebody, and I'd find them for them. I knew just about where to contact with somebody, where they may be playing cards or something, go and tell them that they got a job for them this evening. And then that would work out real good.
And were there a hotel close by where they could stay?
Yeah, they stayed at the American House and the Pack Train and the Murphy. And then they would stay down at the St. Louis Hotel. And when the Ebony Hotel opened up, they was glad to get to go there. That was a big thing. I went to the Ebony Hotel, then the California Hotel opened up. And that was really another big thing.
And where were these hotels located?
The Ebony was on San Pablo, and the California Hotel was on San Pablo. And St. Louis Hotel was downtown on 11th Street, 6th or 7th Street. Then when I first came, the railroad at the end of 7th Street, the railroad where the trains would come in, they had rooming houses, and they would room there and eat. They had a cafe there, and the barn, they had good food too. They would go to the barn and eat.
Do you have a favorite hobby or activity that you like to do today?
Oh, I like to go visit the sick, and I like to work. I like to go to ball games. We used to have buses, 3 or 4 buses go to the ball game, especially when the Giants and Dodgers was playing. That was a big one. And St. Louis, and they would all be there. And everybody had their own seat. I would have about enough seats for 2 or 3 buses going to the game. Then if it's anything left, we'd take the kids, let them go out in the bleachers, and they would enjoy that so much.
Do you still work in your club today?
Yes, but not like I used to, but I still work. I like to work in the kitchen.
And it's located where now?
It's still there. I'm not operating right now, but I go and help him, trying to make sure that the stuff comes out like it, did when I was running it. And then when they leave, I have to go back and take it over.
And how many meals do they serve there?
They serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
And so you just go by there from time to time to make sure that everything is still running okay?
Yeah, I go there. Practically every day I go down there. Sometimes I go down there and open up. A lot of them don't like to open up. My husband don't like to open up until 10 o'clock or 8 o'clock. But the cook now have it, he likes to open up at 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 7 o'clock. So I go down there and stay till the people get there. And of course, I sweep the sidewalk off and sweep the cigarette butts off, which not supposed to be in the place. And they, what are you doing cleaning up all this? I said, I can't stand it like this. And clean behind the bar and in the kitchen and go and help them cook.
What is one of your favorite dishes that you enjoy cooking?
Chitlins. That was my best. That was my thing that kept me in business. Was chitlins. Nobody had chitlins but me. I started everybody having chitlins. Then it's too much of a job, so not very many people having them now anymore. Only the girl that I taught, she have them sometime at the bank club. But I love greens and stews and oxtails and peach cobblers and chicken and dressing, turkey and dressing, ham, baked ham, pork chops, fried chicken, chicken and dumplings, cornbread, rice. We like to have rice and gravy, some kind of gravy. You know, we like gravy and biscuits.
So do you still have chitlins there now?
Every day. I fuss when they don't have them. You didn't want to have them at first. I said, you got to have chitlins and greens. They come, if you don't have no, I came all the way from Sacramento, you don't have no chitlins yet.
So people come as far as way. That's what I was just going to ask. People travel as far as way from Sacramento to come down. And
yeah, and Los Angeles. And then the seamen and the soldiers and all them, they from all overseas, they even tell people to come and get some chitlins. And they come from all over the world to get chitlins. They love chitlins. That was one of the biggest things that kept me in business. I asked Mr. Pollard one time, I said, Mr. Pollard, business is kind of slow. What can I do to get my business built up? He said, well, you got to fix something that nobody else fixed and fix it better than anybody else. So I tried that, and some of the entertainers, they wondered if I made chitlins. I said, I knew, yeah, I'll make some. I knew how to cook them. So I cooked them for 2 or 4 people. Everybody, they started coming in, everybody, you got any more chitlins? We got some chitlins. They wanted for breakfast, lunch, dinner, fried, any kind of way, as long as it was chitlins. And so they come from all over. And the soldiers, they travel all over. Soldiers, sailors, the seamen, and it was just, and sometimes they don't have the money, and I give them the money when they got to go back to the bus or to the ship.
What were some of the entertainers that came there?
Jay Payton opened me up in '63. He opened up with Big Daddy Gibson, Daddy Gibson, and Lou Ross and Al Green, Al King, ZZ Hill, Big Mama Thornton, T-Bone Walker, and Count Basie, not Count Basie, Pearl Bailey, and most all the big entertainers, B.B. King,
so
Big Joe Turner.
They would come and perform, and then they would sit down to one of your home-cooked meals.
Oh yeah, they would sit down, and if wherever they be entertaining at, they would come to some, because we stayed open all night. They would leave there and come in and eat. All of them would come. They'd all meet up there. I don't care where they went or where it was. All the clubs, whatever fairs was going on, they was going to come there and eat. They had good gumbo. Father Jay's grandmother, Jay Matthew, his grandmother, Lucille, she made the best gumbo and Creole food. She taught me how to do all that. She was really a good cook. And she was so comical and so much fun and so good to everybody. And most of the people that work for Slim Jenkins, we all...
So did you still have the music after hours, or would they just come and socialize?
Just come and socialize and unwind, you know, because all tired and everything. And they would sit there at almost time for the bar to open. Sometimes they'd wait till the bar opened, and they would be there. And that time, the pimps and prostitutes, they'd be up all night, and they would be ready to come in and eat and drink. All walks of life.
were there that many pimps around in those days?
Yes, it was.
Would they bother? I mean, how would they treat the people?
Oh, you wouldn't even know that they was. They had a lot of class. And the ladies would have class. They weren't like the streetwalkers. They was just classy people. They dressed nice. And they travel. They go sometime to hot springs, take baths, and all that. They had class. And they dressed, I mean, they would be dressed, these stick pins, big suits, big stick pins, and they'd go to the fights and all the big sports and things. World Series.
Do you have a favorite quote that you live by daily?
What?
A favorite quote or a favorite saying that you think about?
Oh, I just think about the Lord giving me strength to make it, and thanking Him for letting me be here. And I usually go to church in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, and meet all of them and just have a good time with them.
And what church do you attend now?
St. Columbus.
And where is that located?
Alcatraz and San Pablo.
Are you very active in the church?
Yes, I work with the ladies Peter Claber and Mucus Mistress serve the tables, you know, the mucus. And we have other meetings all the time. We have meetings in now we have a club over 80. We're very active in that, and we're in the bread making. We make the bread for the supper.
Do you have other women who help you do that?
Yes, we all get together. We have days that weeks that we make it. Each one of us make.
What is your favorite color? Do you have a favorite color?
I like colors.
You like colors?
I like kind of loud colors. Green used to be my favorite color, but I kind of got away from that. I found out I had a lot of blue in my closet. Then I had a lot of red and peach and purple and brown, and I like real pretty colors.
What changes have you seen taking place down in West Oakland over the years?
Oh my goodness. There used to be everything in West Oakland. You could, Father Divine was down there feeding people, and they had the music playing, and get the Hot Tamale Man. They don't see that no more. And you could walk out of one club and go to another, walk from one restaurant to another one. They would have shows and dances and churches and theaters, and it's a drastic change. There's nobody down there anymore. The attorneys, all the prominent people, they used to come there at Jenkins and come to my place too and eat. And I kind of grew up with all of them. And they're politicians. And we started off with politicians with Brian Rumford when he was first Assemblyman. And then he and Pat Brown, they used to come all the time. And we had the East Bay Democrat Club. And they met there, and all the attorneys and the judges and doctors, they all came. And they all came there on Sundays to have dinner. Then after they got big enough to go up in the hills, you know, it was different, but there was no place for them to go, go to dinner, because they were prejudiced then. At that time, they used to be real prejudiced. You didn't want no black people in to come and eat dinner in hotels and things. They didn't. I got a little place in the back where the entertainers used to stay. Had 6 little units in the back of the place there. They didn't stay. I didn't have it then. Mr. Davis had it then. But the big entertainers, they came there and they stayed there. They had the room there. Travelers, the railroad men.
And do you think that, the changes that have taken place, are they for the better?
No, not for us.
And why do you say that?
Because they have all the black people, most of them sold out, And the young people coming along, they don't have no ambition like they had then. They don't care nothing about working no clothes or nothing. They don't care if they don't have nothing. And the things that we work for, like when we came along, we wanted the kids to have things that we didn't have. We gave them too much. Then when the welfare came along, they get welfare and Section 8 and all this. It's not the same, and they don't go to school like they did. Then people went to school and worked their way through school. And now the people all the people that they sold out. The Asians now is the most growing nationality we have, and they buying up all the property in West Oakland. And they don't spend no money with nobody, but themselves. They don't hire nobody. So I don't know what's going to happen to us. But we trying hard, working with the redevelopment and to try to get West Oakland to come back and redevelopment. I hope and pray that it can be like it was before. It's my greatest ambition to see it come back like it was before. It was good when I came here. The Lord just dropped me off and said, where am I on 7th Street? I came here on a Thursday, no, on a Saturday with Kelly, and we was next to the Baker's Funeral Home. And we met a girl, Mrs. Stewart, William A. Stewart, her name was Miss Willie, and Miss Stewart, we had rooms with her, we would room with her, and then a lot of people would room with her. It was hard to find a room. And she rented to Johnny Bachan and her husband. They slept in the pantry. That's how hard it was to get a room. And Miss Jeffrey, the house that I had there on Willow Street, she used to have hot beds. There was no room. They would sleep. You sleep 8 hours, and then you had to go.
Was that what a hotbed was
considered? Mm-hmm. That's what they called it then, a hotbed. Because you sleep 8 hours, and you get up and let somebody else sleep. And they had the things that not like there was then. They had the black beauty shop. Chase's was the best black barber shop. All the Siemens and everybody, railroad men, they'd all come there and hang out and play cards and things. And there was a good barber. He got to be an alcoholic, and he could get up so high, and when he do anything, he started drinking, he'd go right back down, but he could come back and go right back up. He was the greatest that ever did it. I had a lot of respect for him, and he was a kind person.
Did you say that was Baker's funeral home that was next door at the time?
Yes. Mr. Baker, he would take us out. And he was down to earth too. He and Miss Gladys too. They were really nice people. And I still like Baker's funeral home on account of that. I was really saddened when Mr. Baker died last year. Last year or this year? This year.
So then you're working really hard to try to get West Oakland back to what it used to be.
I would just love to.
As far as the businesses are going.
Right, because I'm the only black that's still left there.
So the funeral home, the Baker's funeral home, is no longer?
It's there on 8th Street, but not on 7th Street. And Mr. Willis, he was another person that I admire. He and his wife, I first met them when I came here at Slim Jenkins. They would come every day, every Sunday, and have dinner and bring his whole family. And I was so saddened because he passed away the other day. And he had been in business, I guess, about 60 years. But one of the oldest black businesses I think there was.
What kind of businesses would you like to see back down there?
Oh, I'd like to see people with barber shops, beauty shops, and the cabs, and they had drug stores, they had banks. We don't have no banks down there no more. We don't have no drug stores anymore. And no place to go out and have dinner, and no theaters, and pool halls, and the Murphy pool hall and hotel. It was small, but it was nice. So I wound up buying that property. But the post office came and bought it. When they uprooted me, post office came in. They put my business way down. When they took me from the big place that I had, where I had all the people coming, like all the attorneys, and even Cobbs used to bring Ethel Kennedy and the Kennedys in for dinner. And Martin Luther King's wife, she would used to come in.
What do you think of the Bay Area record system now that's here in Oakland,
Well,
Bay Area?
I think it's nice, but it hurt me a lot. It took my property, and then they passed there, and they so loud and rack and rock it and shake it, and just keep it something wrong with it, shaking it all the time. Them in the earthquake, when the earthquake came in '89, that put a damp on me too.
Was your business affected by that? Any damage done?
Oh yes, the neon sign and the liquor was knocked off the wall, and a lot of stuff was damaged. But I didn't ever stop operating. A lot of places had to stop operating, but I didn't have to stop. And a lot of the people used to work at the post office, but it's more other people working at the post office now than it was then. We used to have the library down there on Peralta, James DeShell, all the business people. And I don't know if it ever come back. The younger people don't seem to have the ambition.
So you were saying that some of the things that you'd like to see done back there is to bring West Oakland back to what it used to be.
Yeah.
And so you're working with the committee trying
Right.
to do that now.
Tireless working with them.
Is there anything else that you would like to speak about?
Well, I guess a lot of things that I would like to speak about, but I'm trying to, I'd like to see more people getting involved. I'd like to see them come up like the people used to. And the young people take advantage of going to school. We work hard, we give scholarships, work hard for scholarships. And the kids, some of them, they do good with the scholarships, but some of them don't do anything with them. And I'd like to see them do more work and get more involved and stay off the street and get the drugs, stop using drugs and things, which it's tearing them down. The drugs is just, that's what's one of the things that destroyed. Like the older people, if they die, one of them Arabs or Chinamen or somebody gonna get them and buy the property. Give them nothing for it hardly. Then they outdoors in the next 3 or 4 months, selling that dope and stuff, and it'll be gone.
What kind of scholarships do you have available, and what organization is giving the scholarships out?
The Pathfinders gave out some, and CalPAC, we give out a lot of scholarships.
And are these to high school students?
It's to, yes, for them to go to college. We give the average student, we don't give A students, because the average student, it's mostly from one parent. Either the grandma or the aunt or the sister, somebody have to raise them. Maybe their mama or daddy or something might be gone to penitentiary, might be done got killed or killed somebody. So they have to take them. Then they own drugs, they too. So then somebody else have to take the kids and have to, so somebody have to.
And what amount of scholarships do you give to the young people?
Oh, so we give $10,000.
And that's for college?
That's for college. And that's over a period of 4 years, I think, $250, $2,500 every year. So that way we've given a lot of them.
And that's for them during the time that they're attending the
Right,
college?
right. Mm-hmm. For 4 years. And, some of them further their education after they do get the 4 years in, they go into something. They maybe want to be a doctor or a lawyer or somewhere it takes more time. But then if they're good enough, and we will try to give them extended some money for them.
And then they would just fill out the application and
Yeah,
send
they
it
had to
to
put
your
it. They have to.
organization.
Yes, fill it. The school go to the school and fill it out, and then the organization will pick the ones that they want to. We go by the who's most qualified. Like last week, we need to move to. Right now, we need to move to apply. Unless we got them this week, they didn't apply like they had been applying.
So the funds are there, but you have students who aren't applying.
Not applying. I don't know why. McClimate is one of our pet schools. And Castlemount. And we go to Richmond, San Francisco, Sacramento, Los Angeles, Southern California too. They have a lot of scholarships. Then every year we go to Las Vegas in August for the convention. And a lot of companies, they donate so much, they contribute so much too.
What would your advice be to a young person today who's in high school?
Is to go in and try to get it. Go for it. It's out there for you, and apply yourself. You can't just go because you said you're going to school. You got to apply yourself. You got to work hard. Nobody giving you nothing no more when it comes to education. And you can be anything you want to be if you want to. And I admire someone that works and then go to school, and some have babies and they still go to school. I was really pleased with happy. That's why I've been busy too. I had so many graduates, and I was so proud of the graduates. I had a niece graduate from UCLA in the medical school, and she got a degree in that, and she went in had another degree. Get to this black college in medical science. Then my nephew, he graduated from Cal Hayward Saturday in sports medicine and to find out what they call the brains and things, what happens to them. It's really kind of heavy, you know, and they still going to go back to school. One of them last year, he's a policeman in Emeryville. He's a sergeant, and he graduated last year in political science. Because I said, how far are you going to go? He said, I'm going as far as I can. So my nephew had 3 kids to graduate last this semester. One from UCLA, and one from Hayward, and one from high school. And a little grandbaby graduated from junior high. So they was just graduated. We had a big picnic for the graduates Sunday, and it was so nice to see them. And I told them, you better go ahead on. And I told her that one of the girls, the doctor, she's a twin, and they both graduated from Howard. We went back to Howard when they graduated, 97, and another year we went back there for the other one. She's a journalist, but they can't stay apart, so now she's in medical, and dentist. She's going to be a dentist, so she's doing her intern at a dentist's office now. So I'm really proud of them, and I feel like I had a part of it. And my other niece, I have another niece, she's so smart, she's in special school, and they paying part of her tuition. She wants to be
So you have a lot to be proud of.
I am proud. I worked hard to help them too, and I appreciate them so much. And my cousin now, she teaches in Los Angeles, and her brother, her brother's a pastor. Mm-hmm. And she believes in education too. And my aunt had 12 kids, and educated all of them.
And educated all of them.
Mm-hmm. I'm so proud of her. She died. She was still going to. She hadn't been too long stopped going to school.
Herself.
Right. And her son used to come and get her from school, they say, on his bicycle, so he'd come my cab.
I see that you have some interesting photos here. Would you like to tell who these are in the pictures here?
Yeah. Well, this is my grandfather on my daddy's side. And I knew very little about him because I was about 3 years old when he died.
Uh-huh.
Well, I guess.
Okay.
Well,
And who's in that picture there?
That's my father, who I admire and respect the most. He's deceased too, but he was a wonderful father. I wouldn't ask for any more. His whole family was wonderful people. My mother and the was sisters and brothers.
Mm-hmm. And what was your father's name again?
Peter Brown. He's from Palestine, Texas.
And then the next photo?
This is my family, and that's when I met my mother-in-law. And I had never met my mother-in-law, and she came out here and met me, and I had a dinner for them.
Uh-huh.
And my mother, we all got together, and I had them down at the place, and we had a dinner for them.
So you had a dinner at your business?
All right, we all got acquainted. And she was a lovely person, too. Really full of joy and fun. Then this is my sister here. This is my sister.
And then the next picture?
The next picture, that's my brother-in-law. That's my sister-in-law that brought the pictures in. That's her husband. And
then you have another picture behind that one.
do I do all of them or just that?
You can go ahead and do the next one.
And then throw it on the floor now?
Uh-huh.
Oh, then my mother-in-law is sitting there, and she's holding a cake, and my mother's on the other side of me holding the cake.
And then there's another picture.
This is some of the same people. This is my sister, and that's my sister, and that's me, and that's my mother, and that's my mother-in-law, and my cousin, and my nephew, and my son, and
And then the last picture here.
take it.
Who's in that one?
That's my husband, and that's me, and Tom Nash, and Jay Payton. I think the Jubilee West came and took this picture, and that was me, and I was telling the people about where the roots are, and the people that sold out and were coming back, and I wanted to come back. And this is where, and they come down, they still come down to see what it's like and what's left.
And this is where you were today?
Yes.
Well, the Coalition is very proud to honor you as one of the historians in the program Eternal Voices, June 2002, and we would like to thank you for letting us take this time to interview you today.
Thank you, and I would love to thank you too for honoring me, letting me be a part of the Coalition and the historical, and it's really a pleasure. I just thank God and thank you for even considering me. And I will try my best to do better and try to keep helping people. I feed a lot of people, and I continue to do that. And thank you so much for coming.
Well, thank
you
you
again.